Abuse policemen, fight with other lads, fight with local police, and then come home. It's just the best buzz. There are those who will go purely for violence, but they're the sorts of guys who are just violent guys. For the most part, it's about clothes, bravado, football, messing about, getting drunk and having the odd row.
Many of Scotland's most notorious hooligans are Aberdeen supporters. It's a club with the reputation of having some of Britain's most violent casuals. These pictures are from a pre-season tournament in Bradford last summer. Casuals from Aberdeen were involved in violent clashes with opposing fans.
Bradford, we took down 100 boys. Some of us were having a drink, a bit of a sing-song, and then the next minute somebody said, "Oh, it's kicking off," so we've run outside and there we see some bodies come out. Yes, here we go. They've actually made an appearance. There's maybe one police van with the guy with the dog. He's trying to control it. Your sandwich boards are getting flung, they're getting to and frown. But there's a bit of a standoff. It should have been a real let's pile in and hammer these guys.
3 of the Aberdeen hooligans were subsequently banned from every ground in England.
When the history of casual is written, Aberdeen will be one of the most important clubs, the Aberdeen Soccer Casuals. Some of the things they did, some of the things they tried to do in terms of the promotion of them as an entity.
It's Aberdeen's bitter rivalry with Glasgow Rangers, which has led to some of the worst violence in the history of Scottish football.
I think Aberdeen Rangers is down to the fact that Aberdeen were the team of the 80s and then Rangers took over that mantle and won 9 in a row.
Gentlemen, thanks for coming along to the football briefing today. As you're all well aware, Aberdeen travel to Glasgow on Sunday afternoon for the game against Glasgow Rangers.
The coordinated approach between forces is about to be put to the test with one of the most high-risk games in the football calendar.
Both clubs are doing relatively well, particularly has to be said Aberdeen. The operation, in Grampian policing terms, starts well before Sunday. The spotters are briefed on the latest information and intelligence picture for the likelihood of potential trouble. We may visit various addresses to enforce perhaps court bail conditions, to ensure that those that shouldn't be travelling don't do that, and also to warn others that we may be aware of the potential for trouble and that you're not welcome at Ibrox. Now, we do that working very closely with Glasgow.
Within each force there's a dedicated unit who can commit on football match days to identifying their own casual units attached to their football clubs and to be able to share that intelligence so that if they are travelling throughout Scotland they can pass on that information to say who's travelling, and the host force can actually deploy resources to prevent any violence taking place.
Going Alpha 62, Alpha 62 from Whitdale.
It's all very much intelligence-led. We can't just react on the day. There has to be some forethought.
Well, we're basically on our way to visit a known Aberdeen hooligan who is currently on bail regarding football-related disorder. Our job today is basically just to remind him that he is on bail and to tell him that we expect he won't be travelling to the game on Sunday at Ibrox, and make him aware that we will be enforcing any breach of bail if he is seen down there. The response I got was that he wasn't going to the game on Sunday, but I think that will remain to be seen.
It's really important that we come on board with other forces, not only in terms of the match day and putting spotters down to the game itself, but way in advance in terms of exchanging information and intelligence on known criminals. That alone pays dividends every time. Forces have a good relationship now. In terms of the game on Sunday, we have an excellent working relationship with the police in G Division in Glasgow.
The day of the Aberdeen Rangers match has arrived. At Helen Street Police Station in Glasgow, the senior officers are being briefed.
Good morning. Today's briefing is for the Bank of Scotland Premier League football match at Ibrox Stadium, Rangers versus Aberdeen. Capacity crowd, just over 50,000. There is a history of disquiet between these two teams, and those entering the stadium will be searched. There's no specific intelligence to suggest that there'll be any problems today. However, there is an intelligence operation already been set up with spotters, and the contingency is in place to deal with the preparation for the match, no matter what anybody's intentions are coming here.
The officers on the ground are then briefed by Superintendent Kenny Scott.
You all know that historically there is tension between Rangers supporters and Aberdeen supporters, and that's gone back for a long number of years. And the key objective is to prevent a congregation of rival supporters, to identify them, to locate them, and to prevent any of these groups who may be present from meeting up with each other in terms of any organised disorder.
Aberdeen spotter Colin Morantz has been teamed up with Glasgow undercover officer Neil Campbell. They're looking for both Aberdeen and Rangers ringleaders or prominents.
Spotter control to Sierra 3, over.
Intelligence so far of any persons in the area, over.
Roger, that's noted. Would you note we've also had a report of a known prominent within the counting house at present? If you could bear that in mind, over.
Yeah, we've had a look around the bar and there's no one in there that we can identify meantime. So it'll just be a case of moving on to the next bar and see what we can find out.
Inspector Nedley here at the Sport Control. The first objective was to locate the prominent troublemakers from both Aberdeen and Rangers. So we managed to pinpoint a couple of Aberdeen prominents, and we've now got one of the main prominent ICF Rangers hooligans in the city centre, and we're just trying to identify who's with them just now. It's important that we know where they are so that we can react to any possible flashpoints.
We've tracked 3 males into the bar there. One of them's an identified Rangers soccer hooligan, so we'll just make an inquiry in the bar. The guys are way in to speak to them and see if they can glean any information from that.
The man is led outside, his details taken, and he's sent on his way.
They know that we're looking for them, and they will do their best to try and avoid us, and we have to be one step ahead of them.
The police have found that by letting the hooligans know they're being watched, then they're less likely to cause any trouble.
The tactic employed is that from the earliest possible stage we'll try to locate these people in city centre public houses, which is a normal place that they would frequent before the match. We will ensure there are sufficient police resources to contain them, to monitor their progress, and these people aren't stupid. If they know that the police have identified them, have found out where they are, then the possibility for confrontation is reduced vastly.
With just a few minutes till kick-off, spirits are high. Superintendent Kenny Scott and his officers have to ensure that the opposing fans are kept well apart. With a sellout crowd of 50,000, it's a difficult job.
Other than a Celtic match or a European game, the number of away fans here today is as big as we would get. Everything that's said on the telephone and the radio in and out of this control room is recorded, so there's no dubiety at the end of the day who said what to whom and why. We have a set of tape decks there, a screen that allows me helicopter view if I need it. The very good security system from the ground here is on the CCTV cameras, which the 2 sergeants are monitoring for me, and I can see from any angle around the ground. At the moment, the game's just kicked off. The fans are all on the ground. There have been no arrests this time of the day, and things have started off well.
One reason things are going well inside the stadium is because Rangers have already banned the worst troublemakers from the ground. Other clubs have been doing the same. Police banning orders, though, would go even further. They were introduced in England and Wales in 2000 and prevent convicted hooligans from travelling to any match, both at home and abroad. Police in Scotland now want the same powers. I wanted to know the difference that these banning orders had made south of the border, so I've come to Millwall Football Club. Now, this club has attracted the support of some of Britain's most notorious hooligans.
The trouble began when a group of Millwall supporters left the ground early.
History burdens Millwall with a reputation. I saw it as a challenge, along with many others, to try and reduce that reputation. Anybody who is arrested for a football-related offence here, the court has power to put on a banning order. Those banning orders give the opportunity to police, A, to prevent them going to any designated football grounds in England and Wales, but also can apply for them orders to stop them travelling abroad.
Euro 2000, some of the ugliest scenes of football violence ever witnessed. It was the bloody clashes between opposing fans which prompted banning orders to become the sledgehammer in the war against casuals.
After the massive disorder that occurred in Euro 2000, the Football Disorder Act came into being, and it meant that there was a comprehensive set of measures. Essentially, what it means is that an individual who is convicted of a football-related offence, that doesn't mean necessarily actually in the stadium, it can be on match day associated with, you know, the game occurring. After they have been convicted, the police can apply for a banning order on the basis of that conviction, and can also offer additional information, intelligence to support the banning order. The banning order legislation applies right across the country to every game, and it does mean that they're excluded not only from the stadium but also the immediate environment, you know, the local city centre, and that has made a major difference.
I think that the introduction of banning orders would be the single most effective tool that we do not have at present in our armoury in dealing with hooligans and persons convicted at football matches. What tremendous effect that would have in stopping people who are intent on disrupting the enjoyment of the normal everyday punter.
Back at Ibrox, and the final whistle has blown. As the Aberdeen fans are escorted onto the buses, coins and bottles are thrown in the car park outside. 5 people are arrested for alleged breach of the peace offences. One of them is just 15.
Don't start, son!
It's the end of another shift for Strathclyde's football unit. With the Scottish Executive considering banning orders in next year's police bill, their job may well become easier.
Little sort of sometimes just banged off the weekend.
Coming next on BBC One Scotland, Brian Wilson smiles.